You step out of college. The rain begins to fall softly, creating a gloomy atmosphere that mirrors your mood. You clutch your umbrella tightly, trying to shield yourself from the downpour. Noor notices your expression and rushes over, concern etched on her face. What happened? You look really down. Nothing, it's fine. You can share with us, Ryan. We are friends, right? Yeah, you can talk to us. It's just, I want to move out of my house. Both of them gasp in shock. What? Are you mad? Do you really think your brothers will let you go? They are the reason I want to move. So why wouldn't I? Even if they are cold and harsh, they care about you in their own way. They won't just let you leave like that. I don't need their so called care. It doesn't feel real. Think this through, Ryan. It's not a simple decision. I'm getting late for my job. With that, you turn and walk away, your heart heavy with the weight of their words. You can hear Noor and Mio calling after you, but you keep moving, determined to find your own path. What's going to happen now? I have no idea. They both watch as you walk away in the rain, feeling the droplets mix with your unspoken pain and frustration. The distance between you and your brother feels unsurmountable. Leaving seems like the only way to escape the hurt. You were sitting on the counter at the cafe, focused on managing the orders and payments, when your manager approached you. Ryan, the staff is busy. Can you take the bill to that last table outside? You nodded, grabbing the bill and making your way to the table. As you approached, your heart stopped. You widened your eyes in shock when your gaze locked onto Yongi. Looking around, you realize that Taeyong, Hobby, and Namjoon were also there, sitting with an unknown man. You gulped, anxiety creeping in as they all stared at you. Their expression a mix of surprise and scrutiny. Even though you were wearing a mask, they recognized you immediately. The atmosphere felt heavy as you placed the bill on the table, the tension between you palpable. You stepped out of the cafe after your shift, ready to head back to college where your driver was waiting. But as you approached the door, you froze. Yoongi, Namjoon, Taeyong, and Hobby were standing beside their car. Watching you, you gulped, feeling a wave of anxiety wash over you, and then walked towards them. I save it for later. He cut you off as he slid into the driver's seat, and you reluctantly climbed onto the back, sitting beside Taeyong and Hobby. Namjoon took the passenger seat, leaving an uncomfortable silence hanging in the air. The drive was tense, the only side of being the hum of the engine and the rain pattering against the windows. After a moment, Namjoon broke the silence. From how long? You frowned, trying to understand his question before realizing he was asking about your job. 2 years. He nodded, but the atmosphere remained heavy. The weight of their scrutiny felt suffocating. And you stared out the window, hoping the drive would end quickly. You entered the house, trying to keep your head low. As you walked past the living room where Jimin, Jungkook, and Jin were sitting, just as you were about to head upstairs, Yoongi harshly grabbed your arm and yanked you back into the living room. Namjoon, Taeyong, and Hobby stood silently, expressionless. No, what happened? From how long? 2 years. You have been doing a part-time job for 2 years. Why? Did we make you starve? Are we not paying enough for your fees? What is it? What do you mean by that? She was doing a part-time job at a cafe. Everyone turned to you in shock, their eyes widened as they processed Yoongi's fury. Speak up, you damn it! Frustration boiled inside you, and tears blurred your vision. You couldn't hold back any longer. What do you want to hear, huh? It's not my fault that my mother cheated on you all. I was a victim too. I didn't choose any of this. The room fell silent and all eyes were on you. You took a deep breath, your heart racing. I was just 11 years old when everything fell apart. I lost my mother and was left alone with all of you who hated me for something I didn't do. I have been living in this house for years, feeling nothing but loneliness and pain. You think I wanted to work in a cafe? I did it because I didn't want to rely on you, on the people who blame me for your suffering. You felt the tears spill down your cheeks, a mixture of anger and sadness pouring out. You don't see me. You don't see the hurt I carry every day because of what she did. I just wanted to make my own way, to not to be a burden, but all I get is anger and blame from you all. I just wanted to be accepted, to be part of this family. Your voice cracked as you spoke, the weight of your words hanging heavily in the air. You turned away, unable to bear their starts, feeling more isolated than ever despite standing in a room full of people. Your chest heaved with every breath as you wiped the tears from your face, but they wouldn't stop. The frustration, the years of pent-up hurt and rejection, it all came flooding out uncontrollably. You couldn't stop now. You have no idea what it feels like to be blamed for something I didn't do, to walk around this house every day like I don't even exist. You all hate me for what she did, but I didn't ask for any of this. I never even got a chance to understand what was happening before you all turned your backs on me. Jung's grip on your arm loosened, but his face still held anger. The other was standing in shocked silence, not knowing how to respond to your outburst. I did nothing wrong, nothing. I was just a kid when all of this happened. And instead of being a family, instead of being supporting me, you all just push me aside. Do you even realize how odd it's been? Living with people who can't even stand the sight of me? Your voice was trembling, but you didn't care. You were beyond trying to keep it together anymore. You felt like a dam had broken, and all the pain you had been carrying for years was rushing out, overwhelming you. I won't live like this anymore. I won't live in a house where I'm treated like a stranger, like a burden. I'm done. I'm done with all of you. Their shocked expression did nothing to calm you. Your tears blurred your vision, but you didn't stop. I had enough of this house, of all of you blaming me for things I had no control over. I will not stay here anymore. I refuse to keep living in a place where I'm constantly reminded of everything I have lost. You spun on your heel and ran towards the door, your heart racing, your mind clouded with anger and hurt. Wait, what are you doing? When? Stop! But you didn't stop. You rushed to the door, flinging it open as the cold evening air hit your tear-streaked face. You could hear their voices calling after you, trying to make sense of what just happened, but you didn't care. You couldn't stay in that house anymore, not for another second. I will never live here again, you yelled back at them as you stepped outside. You can keep your hatred. I don't need any of you. The door slammed behind you, and their yells become distant as you keep walking into the night, the weight of years of suffering finally lifting off your shoulders, even if just a bit. The door slammed shut behind you, leaving your brother standing in a stunned silence. Yoongi stood frozen, his chest rising and falling with breath, still burning with anger, but something else stirred inside him. The others, equally shocked, exchanged uneasy glances. She just left? Did you really have to go that far, Hyung? Yoongi's fist clenched at his sides, still fuming. She's always been trouble. Why wouldn't I? She's been lying to us for 2 years. We don't need someone sneaking around behind our backs. But she's our sister, Yoongi. That wasn't just about a job. Did you even hear what she said? She's hurting. Yoongi scoffed, but his gaze fluttered. His anger was masking something deeper, a twinge of guilt that he didn't want to admit. This is more than just her working at some cafe. We have been ignoring her, pushing her away for years. She's been living with us, but not alone at the same time. We all know why she is doing it. The cafe job isn't about money, it's about trying to survive the way we have treated her. Yoongi's jaw tightened. His thoughts were jumbled with a mix of resentment and a slowly growing realization The memory of her teary eyes as she shouted, "I never asked for this," echoes in his head. He knew she was right, but his pride wouldn't let him admit it. She's not like her mother, Hayam. She was just a kid when all of that happened. We shouldn't have taken it out on her. There was a pause as Young's anger began to dissipate, placed by a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach. The others were quiet, waiting for him to respond. He didn't want to admit it, but they were right. She's been lying to us for 2 years. His voice wavered, quieter than this time. Because she was scared, Hyang. Look at how we have treated her. Would you have done any differently in her place? Yoongi didn't respond, his eyes narrowing as he stared at the ground. The anger he had felt so strongly before was crumbling, revealing a guilt he hadn't been prepared to face. We have blamed her for something that wasn't her fault. For years, no wonder she's breaking down. We let our anger at her mother poison everything. She was just a kid. The room fell into an uncomfortable silence, the truth of their world sinking in. Yogi finally looked up, his face hot but conflicted. She is still our sister. I didn't mean for it to go this far. None of us did, but it did. And now she's gone. The statement hung heavy in the air. Time ticked by slowly as they realized what had just happened. They didn't know where you were or if you were even coming back. She's never stayed out this long before. You don't think she's serious about leaving, do you? Yoongi's heart sank. He had been angry, too blinded by it to see what was really happening. He had pushed you too far. They all had. Now, the thought of your actually leaving the house for good weighed heavily on them. She wouldn't just leave, he said it, but the uncertainty his voice was clear. He wasn't so sure anymore. We need to find her. Taeyong nodded quickly, already heading towards the door. I will check the places near the cafe. Maybe she went back there. I will call some of the drivers to see if they saw her leave. As everyone moved into action, Yoongi remained frozen. Guilt glared at him, and the reality of his words began to sink in. He had drawn you away. What if she doesn't come back? His voice was barely above a whisper, filled with regret. He wasn't just angry anymore. He was scared. We need to fix this, Hyung. We eyed her. At least try. Yoongi nodded slowly. His jaw clenched. He couldn't undo what had been said, but he could try to make things right. He had pushed you away for far too long, and now that you were gone, he realized just how much he had taken your presence for granted. As they all prepared to search for you, a heavy weight settled on their shoulders. Each of them knew they had played a part in your suffering. Now it was time to face it. You stood there in the rain, soaked to the bone, your clothes cringing to your body as the water poured down. The street light were dim and the puddles of the rainwater splashed under your feet with each step. You didn't care where you were going, just walking, letting the numbness consume you. The further you walked, the more unfamiliar the surrounding became. Stopping to catch your breath, you sighed and pulled out your phone. Your fingers were trembling as you scrolled the note's number and dialed. The phone rang a few times before she picked up. Hey Ryan, where are you and Meow? We are at our dorm. Why? You hesitate, swallowing the lump in your throat. Before you could answer, you heard Meow's voice in the background. Hello Ryan. Her cheerful tone contrasted painfully with the jaws swelling inside you. Can I come there? What? At this time? You bit your lip, trying to keep your voice steady, but it broke slightly. I left my house. Now I don't even know where I am. There was a long silence on the other end before Noor's voice came back, sharp with concern. What? Are you mad? Never mind. I will go somewhere else. Dare to do that, and I will break your bonds. Stay there. I will send you my live location so you can get out of that unknown place. You better come here. Okay, but before you could finish your sentence, a car screeched to a halt in front of you. The headlights blinked you for a moment. Panic shot through you as the door swung open, and a group of boys jumped out, their faces hidden in the shadows. What are you doing? Leave me! You screamed as they grabbed you, their hands rough and forceful, dragging you towards the car. Your phone slipped from your hands and hit the ground, the call with no still connected. Ryan, what's happening? Ryan! Her voice shouted through the phone, but the rain and commotion drowned her out. You struggled trying to break free, kicking and screaming, but they were too strong. They shoved you onto the back seat of the car, slamming the door shut. Your phone lay in the puddle on the street, the screen flickering with Noor's name still on the call. Her voice echoed through the night, desperate and panicked. Ryan, are you there? But you were already speeding away, the car disappearing into the rain-soaked darkness. The seven brothers were sitting around the living room, their usual calm shadowed by worry. Yoongi's hand clenched his phone tightly, frustration building as each call went unanswered. Namjoon was pacing back and forth, his brow furrowed in deep concern. Jin and Taeyong sat in silence, their expression mirroring the anxiety everyone felt. Jim and Jungkook and Hobby were all trying to call different people, but it was like you had vanished. Suddenly, the door burst open, and one of the cars stepped aside to let Noor rush in, soaked from head to toe, breathing heavily. Her hair clung on her face as she staggered forward, clearly having run through the rain to get there. They, they, they took her. Her voice trembled as she tried to catch her breath. Everyone's head snapped in her direction, their frowns deepening with confusion and fear. What do you mean they took her? Who took her? Where is she? The urgency in their voices was overwhelming, but Jin held up his hand to calm down. Noor gasped for air, trying to steady herself enough to explain. She was on the phone with me. She said she left the house and was lost. Then, suddenly, I heard her shouting. They grabbed her. I heard a car, and it sounded like they dragged her into it. I don't know where she is now. I didn't know what to do, so I ran here. A deadly silence fell over the room as the weight of Noor's words sank in. Everyone's faces paled, and Yoongi's jaw clenched, his knuckles turning as white as he gripped the back of a chair. Whoever took her, they won't make it through the night. His voice was cold, filled the rain, and the others knew that Yoongi was already piecing together a plan. Namjoon stepped forward, taking charge, his mind already working through the possibilities. We need to track her phone if it's still on. We can locate her within minutes. I can hack into the city's surveillance. If they used a car, I can trace their route. Her phone fell there, where they took her. I will call our contacts. Someone must have seen something. A group of guys wouldn't go unnoticed in the rain. We need to move quickly. She's been gone too long already. What if this is a ransom? Maybe it's connected to our enemies? Yoongi's eyes darkened and his voice dropped to a dangerous low. I don't care who it is. We're getting her back. Namjoon, get the tracker. Jungkook starts scanning the city's cameras. Namjoon nodded, pulling out his phone and connected to the satellite network. Meanwhile, Jungkook rushed to the computer, his fingers playing across the keyboard as he hacked into the traffic cams. The tension in the room was thick, and every second felt like eternity. Please, just bring her safely. We will, and whoever did this won't live to regret it. Jungkook suddenly looked up from the computer, his eyes sharp. I have got something, a black car with no plates, heading west. Around the time she called you, it's heading out of the city. Let's move. Without another word, the brothers grabbed their weapons, determination in their eyes. Yoongi gave Noor a nod of reassurance, but there was no time for comfort. They were already out the door, ready to tear the city apart if they had to, just to find you.